In a world where dice determine your fate and the only thing holding you back is your imagination, embark on a journey of adventure, perils, mayhem, and treasure. Unlock the hero within and welcome to Roll for Turaco! Welcome to Roll for Turaco, where we soar into adventures like a Turaco. My name is Frank, and I have a question. What do you do when your party falls in love with an NPC that you had no intention of it being a regular character, a throwaway character? I'll tell you what I did, and you can let me know in the comments below what you did if that ever happened in any one of your campaigns or sessions. A few months ago at the Roll for Turaco RPG Club, held at my local library, and my party was getting ready for their next adventure. They had just discovered a scroll, and they had talked to a professor, and they were just getting supplies. And one of the supplies was things for one of my player's character. He's an apothecist. In my world that I created, the apothecist is a cross between a magic user and either a cleric or a druid. They're just more focused on making potions and using herbs and nature and things like that. And the my player, we'll just call him by his player name, Klaus. My player Klaus, who is an elf, and he has a brother named Elk, and they have a friend that's a half elf named Ludwig. So Klaus, Elk, and Ludwig were picking up supplies. Klaus needed some things to make potions for just to have stuff for the trip, just so he can be ready. So they stopped by a botanist that specializes in making potions and herbs, and she does a lot of stuff. Again, focuses more on just making medicine and things like that with herbs and plants and things that she has. And one of the things that she can do is she can cast a few spells. So she gave Klaus some spells, and they bought stuff from her. And for fun, I had added a character, just something that was going to be a one-off character, no real significance, just that I was planning on him being a little bit of a warning, to the players that, hey, don't take off this botanist, because this character, this NPC that I created, well, he was a sentient leaf, and I have him right here. I'll add a picture here, just in case this doesn't show up, because I don't think it's showing up very well on the camera. But that is Herbert. At least it was until the players fell in love with him and instantly renamed him to Leafy. And they just loved this character. They started laughing, and like, we need to have him in our party. So they asked Leafy questions. So what it turned out, why Leafy was a leaf, and he's very like this big talking leaf. So he was out in the garden, and this leaf just starts talking to him like, oh, well, pie or bye, or I actually forget what the original interaction was. As soon as they saw him, they asked him questions. So it turned out that Leafy wasn't being a very good husband, so as punishment, the botanist turned him into a sentient leaf as a punishment. And with that, the players decided that he needs to be in the party. So they offered to buy Leafy from the botanist. She was surprised by this, and she just gave Leafy to them. And now Leafy is part of the party. So I thought that was great, because they were already planning on how they can use Leafy. They were like taking care of him, and I did let him know, like, well, I mean, he's sentient, but he's a leaf, so he needs a lot of protection, a lot of care. So they're just taking care of him. They repotted him, and so he's in a pot. And they also met another NPC that he joined the party, and what was his name? I think he was Jeff. He's a ranger, fighter. That he would hire himself out to people and to parties. He actually knew Leafy, or knows Leafy. And he was welcome in the party, but it was Leafy that my players had this fascination for, and they were playing like how they could use him, and where they were going. They were going to go overseas, and then they were going to go to a jungle. They're going overseas to go to a specific island jungle. And before I forget, something I had bought a couple of months before, maybe it was, actually I bought them like maybe a month later. It was after that session, because we hadn't embarked on the sea adventure yet. That's actually where we're going to. So I had found a box of 5 unpainted wooden canoes that you can use for decorations, and they're models, not actual canoes. Here's one of them, and I painted it. I found 5 of these. I have 3 of them here, and the other 2 are at the library where I keep my other stuff. And those 2 are the ones that I planned on using on this adventure after this session. And so the party was already planning on, like, okay, Leafy can go in the boat, and when we get to the island, we can use Leafy, like this. So I thought that was great that they really loved this character, and because he's just a leaf, I thought I'm gonna do one better and turn Leafy, this paper miniature of Leafy, into an actual miniature, something a little bit more tangible, kind of like this, where they can just hold it and move it around, and they can do that with this, but it's just a paper. Eventually, it's gonna either get wrinkled or torn, or so that's what I did. I actually have some baking clay that I had bought a while back. I still had some left over. Actually, I still think I have like a little chunk left. So I made Leafy, and here's some pictures. I didn't record it, but I took some pictures, and you can see that there. And Leafy is done. He's finished, and here it is. There you go. There's Leafy. So if I take the paper Leafy out, he is more or less the exact same size, because I had actually taken an extra one of this, cut it out, and traced it on the clay. I wrote out the clay on a flat surface and just traced it out. Cut it out. Cut out the excess clay, and I made the little pot. What I'm going to do of this because it's a little wobbly. As I'm going to glue it on here, so that'll make him a little bit more sturdy. But that is Leafy. That is the miniature that I made. You know, it's not perfect. It's the first miniature that I've made out of clay, and usually I just make paper miniatures. I used a little metal wire. You can see it here sticking out, and it's dug into this this flower pot, and that was easy to make. Everything was easy to make, and I baked it in the oven and painted it and used Mod Podge to seal it. So I'm going to glue it down here to his base, but I'll do that off camera. And I was excited for my party to actually get to interact with this version of Leafy. I thought they're gonna love it. It's gonna be great. And unfortunately, that's when I received the bad news. What was the bad news? Well, it was actually good news for one of my party members, but bad news for the overall campaign and party. So one of my party members, he got a job opportunity, so he had to move. He actually is already moved, and he's already doing his job, which is great. I congratulate him. I don't think I did tell him congratulations, but I'll send him a message. But he said, I got this opportunity. I'm moving. So I think this campaign is over. The other party members, which are his friends, they all came together. They didn't say anything, but I took that as they're not coming. They're not, for whatever reason, they're not returning. I am going to extend an invitation if they want to start a new campaign. And it might just be that they don't want to continue this campaign because it is built around these three characters, and without one of the players, you're not going to have the same dynamic. I will reach out, and maybe they want to start a different campaign. So it's not all bad news. This does give me the opportunity to start a fresh new campaign, invite new people. I'm actually going to be working on an update flyer and adding my new phone number on there. And I might just do some editing on spelling. I think I had a spelling error. So it's not all bad news. There's good things coming out of this. I can still run that campaign or that setting another time. The city that I used to start off that campaign, I've used that multiple times in different campaigns, and it always goes off in different directions. So even if I run the same setting, and even I run some of the same things in there, there's gonna be different outcomes. Leafy has only come out of this particular campaign. So that's pretty cool. I can still run that adventure. That is something I'm going to be working on. The city I created, I do want to have that published as an adventure that you can buy, you can download, you can use. I think it's a good city. I might not put everything in there, but I'll have options. But that's still something I'm going to be working on. I might run that one again, or I might just, leave it alone for a while, because I think I've play tested it enough that there's a lot of stuff that I can pick and choose. And it can just go off into different adventures. So I think that will be good as its own little setting. You can just plop in anywhere in your campaign. You run into this. village, called Fallen Valor. Why is it called Fallen Valor? Well, that's going to be stuff that I will be adding a little bit more so you can know the lore. There's good things coming out of this. The Apocalypse class that I created for this campaign. I think that's something that I can use that down the line for something else. But I am planning on reaching out to the players later on. Part of why we weren't always able to meet is we had scheduling conflicts. I had different things going on. Dave had different things going on, and I was excited. Each time that I was like, oh, I can run a game this weekend. Well, they usually would have something else. The last time I reached out to them, that is when I got this news. But as I said, I can open it up for more people this time. Invite new people. So I'll be working on that. I'll be promoting that more, promoting that better, and just start new, start fresh. So it's not all bad. And with this campaign, well, Leafy came out of that campaign. So I'm not calling it a loss, not a full loss. There are some good things that come out. I did have fun running that campaign. I do wish I was able to get a few more sessions, and I really wanted to get into that jungle setting. I'm still going to be working on that. I think that could be something that it will be an adventure that I can use somewhere else, and something I can put out as a published adventure. So this was actually going to be a play test to see how it worked. But I am planning on using it somewhere else. Maybe I'll even add Leafy in there somewhere. But overall, I had fun running those sessions. I have great memories of running those sessions. This video isn't about oh, my campaign ended. It's about what do you do when your characters fall in love with an NPC that's supposed to be a throwaway character. Well, I made a cool miniature. I'm just sad that they didn't get to see it in person. And if my player hadn't already left, I would have said like, hey, swing by and you can have it. But for now, Leafy's staying here. And let me know in the comments below what what characters you've created that your party really fell in love with. What characters did you create that you thought your characters would fall in love with but didn't? Let me know in the comments below, not just what you think of this video, but what do you think of Leafy? And again, if you've ever made an NPC for your party, if you've ever run a game, what did your party think? This has been Frank Salazar with Roll for Turaco. Stay creative, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to roll for Turaco. Subscribe.